Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is Vital Signs by Survivor. This is 40 years old this month. I'm not sure when it came out. It says September 1984. I actually thought it was August. But maybe someone's moved it on Wikipedia since I previously checked. Came very late to this album. I actually had a kind of best of Survivor just to dip my toe in the water. And then the drummer of the band I was in was raving about Jimmy Jameson and how he likes Survivor, which is quite unusual because, he's not normally into that sort of stuff. So he lent me this album, and it's one of those albums when I heard it and listened to it a few times, I was like, how have I lasted this long and not heard this album? What the hell happened there? This is a great AOR album for me, no doubt. Let's get right to it. So, by this point, Survivor have replaced their first singer. I think he's kind of struggling with the touring. I forget his name, Dave something or other. And he's on the album before this, and then they get Jimmy Jameson in. Obviously, they've had a huge hit with Tyler the Tiger. That album's big, but then things have tailed off again on the album after that, which is caught in the game. So all the tracks on this are written by Jim Peterick and Frankie Sullivan, who obviously got down and done the homework, worked really hard, and they get Ron Neverson in to produce it. First thing about the production on this, I think Neverson's one of the great producers for me. And it avoids, it's at that time in music where things will get more artificial the next year. And you'll get more drum samples and bad technology, certainly by 86 going into rock music. This is still at that time where it's got a natural very live sort of snare sound. I think it is anyway. It's got a really nice balance. It's quite gritty. It's got, the guitars in there, but obviously it's got that, the keyboards and the smoothing off of that, which is essential for the AOR sound. Some of the keyboard sounds are a bit plinkety-plonky, but they're nice parts. So who's in the band? Obviously you've got Jimmy Jameson vocals, great singer, a guy I didn't really realise, I think obviously when you hear things like Burning Highlight, he's a good singer, but when you really listen to his singing, he's got all that extra bit of grit to his voice, so he's got that kind of high melodic AOR voice that's beloved of the genre, but he's got a bit more oomph to his vocals. Jim Peterick, great. Frankie Sullivan, really good guitar player. We'll come to him in a bit. And Stephen Ellis and Mark and Drew bass and drums. I think one of them's passed away now. Noticing Mickey Thomas does backing vocals. Obviously, you'll be aware of him from Jefferson Starship and Starship, amazing singer. It says here Peter Wolf synthesizers. Right, it's not the Peter Wolf from Jay Giles' band. I just thought it might have been there. Okay, so let's just get into the album. It opens with I Can't Hold Back, which is just a really catchy track. Opens with lovely kind of track 12 string. And I think the thing you notice with that as well, the tuning's really good. It's really well played. The band and obviously Frank Sullivan all know what they're doing. Not much more can say about this track. It was a single, it was a bit of a hit, I think. Next track up's my favourite, or maybe my second favourite album, that's High on You, which has got a cheesy lyric, but it's really good fun. I should say all the tracks on this album are all about girls, relationships, first love, relationships gone wrong. It's in the genre, isn't it? There isn't anything else other than that, apart from one track. But High on You's got a great bridge. Just really good breakdown to lift into the chorus, and I think this track shows the kind of expertise of the songwriting. 4 minutes 9, really well done. Then you got First Night again. This was a single, another stellar chorus. Nice sort of nice little sort of 2-note dyad type riff that the guitarist will be aware of. Then the big power ballad, The Search Is Over. Again, the lost art of the power ballad. This is peak power ballad time for rock bands. Obviously, Journey do Open Arms and Faithfully, songs like that. The Search Is Over is really good. It's got kind of quite a nice sort of classical little flourish to the progression. Cheesy lyric, but that's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure it was a lot of first dances at weddings, maybe it still is. It's really good, you know. There's a place for this type of song, there's a place for this kind of songwriting that's kind of lost a bit. I'm just trying to see, it made number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, there you go, big hit. I'll just check the other ones. First Night made number 53, not bad. High on You, it's top 10 hit, I think. I Can't Hold Back, 13 that made. So it was that thing that the hits drove this album to over platinum status. Side 1 finishes with Broken Promises. I would probably say this is the weakest track on the album for me, but it's still good. It's still a good song. Yeah, every track on side 1, Can't Hold Back's just under 4 minutes. All the other ones are just over 4 minutes. The whole album's only 40 minutes. Again, it's that thing, back then albums could just have 9 tracks. 8, you probably couldn't get away with 8 tracks then, but back in, by that point, but certainly by then, 9 tracks was still fine. People just wanted 40 minutes, 20 minutes each side, or a bit less, a bit more because of the vinyl. And, just hit my keyboard. You get quality rather than quantity. And there's still a problem in music with too much music on albums and too long songs. So this is just great. It's a great listen. Side 2 opens with Popular Girl. Again, another catchy track. I think, with Broken Promises, again, this is probably a track I don't quite like as much, but it's still a 6, 7 out of 10. Then you got Everlasting Love. Things pick up a bit with this, a bit more kind of epic. And then it finishes with, for me, which is like, I said High on You, so the other 2 tracks that I absolutely love on the album. So we've got It's the Singer, Not the Song. This is one of the best forgotten 80s songs. It's got that, if you listen to this song, when I listen to it, I imagine the montage of my day, in 80s films, when you have a montage sequence, you can put this music on and just imagine your own montage, getting up in the morning, montaging to your car, montaging to your job, montaging your lunch and meeting friends, whatever. I know it sounds daft, but it's just great. It's got a really cool bridge as well, with like quite an interesting leap, intervallic, stretch, so to speak, on the vocal. Nice Frankie Sullivan solo. And then we got I See You in Everyone. There's actually, if you go on YouTube, there's a really good live version of this, and Frankie Sullivan does an extended solo. This is really good lyrics, nice stompy kind of bass like the Eye of the Tiger. Frankie Sullivan's a lovely lead break melody at the end of this, and I think it was interesting because Frankie Sullivan's a guitarist I was aware of. He does the solo on Nobody's Home off the Heart album. But, obviously I'm an 80s guy, so I'm into shredders and that, but when you listen to Frankie Sullivan, he just plays what fits, and it's that thing where he's not the best guitarist, but he's the best guitarist in Survivor. When I was watching his solo spot on this live version of this track, what struck me was his quality of his bends, the quality of his phrasing. He kept it going. Very good player. Later on, I think when the album they did after this, When Second Counts, is a good record. It's kind of repeating the formula, but doesn't. It's not as memorable, but it is good. And then they did Too Hot to Sleep. By that point, it was just the kind of 3 main members that kind of had bigger hair on that. They was trying to go for or were forced to go for the hair metal thing. And Frankie Sullivan used a lot of whammy on the album, and it doesn't really suit him. Anyway, I've digressed a bit there, but it's 9 tracks, this album. I mean, side 2's 8, 15, 16 minutes. I mean, it's... right, of course, there's a bonus track. That's why it's 4. I'm thinking, So the Rock Candy reissue, which I've got, it's got a bonus track, The Moment of Truth. So this was actually on the Karate Kid film, I believe. Yeah, it was. And Carrie Underwood, if you're a fan of Cobra Kai, Carrie Underwood actually sings this track. It's actually pretty pants. It's got a really stupid chorus. It's a moment of truth. It doesn't really work, so I'm glad it didn't make the album, because it would have spoilt it. But in actual fact, yes, I'm saying the album's 40 minutes and 38, but it's actually just kind of under 37 minutes long. So in a way, that's even better to me. You can just put this album on and drive to work, walk to work, you know, and it's done. Very good record. Where is it in the annals of AOR? I suppose Escape by Journey's the benchmark AOR album. I would say Escape's probably better produced. You know, Escape's like a fantastic sounding record, as is Frontiers. Frontiers is another one, maybe not quite as consistent, but I think this is really good. It maybe doesn't have a Mother, Father or Still a Ride, but what's refreshing about it is you know, it hasn't got songs you've heard too much. I mean, you know, I Don't Need to, Don't Stop Believing or Open Arms again. So coming to this album later in life has been really refreshing. So I think it's kind of been forgotten about, but I think it really is one of the great OR albums, not only of its day, but of all time. You know, like I say, Boston's debut would be another one. Maybe that's the daddy of them all. But anyway, this is well worth checking out. Survivor Vital Signs, 40 years old this month. So remember to share and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Thanks very much.